Alright, welcome back. Now that you've got an idea of what the course site looks like and some of the tools we're going to be using, it's time to kind of go over the course itself. Now this is going to take me a few minutes, so bear with me, okay? You may hit pause a few times and that's fine. First thing I wanted to show you is this is the page, and I have this up now. Again, I'm going to put all these lectures on Perusall. To find them, you go to Library and then click on the little folder, plus sign, and then choose the lecture. They'll be labeled accordingly so you can watch them. And if you have questions and you want to leave a comment, you just hit at the right spot. In fact, let me show you how to do this. I'm not signed in yet. Go over here, go to Library, click on Lectures. So we have this one going. Hit Open. Then Add Comment is the way to add a comment on the right-hand side. Okay, it's pretty simple. And it will add a comment on the conversation thing, and I can see it, other people can see it, and you can all comment on it, just like with the syllabus thing. So here's the site. Now again, there's a few little docs down below the video, the next video. You might want to download them so you can follow along. And some more links. I'll talk about Padlet again, Perusall and all that stuff. So this is the video I'm doing. So let me show you about the course project. So what we're doing this summer is essentially, don't die on me yet, it's essentially a big team project. Don't worry, it's actually kind of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's people have done some really interesting projects. And the idea about this project is that you are a team. Okay, you either work for a company or you are a company, and you've identified a scientific or technical problem or issue that you would like to propose a solution to, either to the bosses or to potential clients or customers or even to potential investors. Now these folks are low or no tech, so you're going to be doing a couple of different audience analysis things along the way. Okay, so what exactly, so that's the scenario. You're going to create a proposal. So what are some of the topics that people have worked on? Well, here's a list, and I'm not going to read them all, but they're sort of all over the place. You can recycle one of these because whatever you do is probably going to be more up-to-date than what they've done, and it's going to be your take on it anyway. All right, so it's really up to you. You'll see when I get to the week one overview page that there's a thing called a Padlet, which I love Padlet. My students love Padlet. It's like a big graffiti wall, and you can post ideas and talk to each other, and so you're going to be putting your ideas for projects, things that are important or interesting to you, up on the Padlet. And then you're going to comment on the other ones that seem to be of interest to you as well. So I can get these teams put together largely based on what you're interested in, right? Also based on the introductions you're going to leave. That's week one, and I'll get there. But that's what we're going to be doing. So you can pick something you think would be cool. So now what's the proposal going to look like? Well, there's three big parts to it essentially, but mostly it centers around this website and the technical. Well, it centers on all of them. One of the first things you'll be doing will be a science and technical research report. So this is long about the problem or the issue. It's going to serve, as I say, as your supporting documentation for your proposal in case a bunch of techies, potential clients or your bosses want to bring in to look at it and say, oh, they really know what they're talking about. Even though they've told us about it in low or no tech terms, they do know what they're talking about. So you're going to talk about the history and context of the problem, the causes and the nature of the problem, current solutions or lack of solutions, and then your proposal for a solution. Right? So that's a big one, and that takes up sort of the first part of the course. Then you'll start working on, or you can work on it simultaneously. It's kind of up to the team. You're going to create a website that is the proposal, in essence. Again, it's aimed at your low or no-tech bosses, customers, clients, or investors. You can lay it out whatever you want to. That sentence was wrong. Whatever way you want. You can use OpenLab. You can use something like Wix. Or if somebody in your group is really handy at creating websites, from scratch, you can do that too. But there's a lot of options, and I can walk you through how to create a project on OpenLab. It's not that hard once you just get it set up. It's really kind of fun to tweak it and bring in all kinds of fun images and do whatever way you want to. All right, so you're going to create that website. And then you're also going to create a what I have is an engaging but professional presentation. That is your pitch, essentially. Here's the thing. This is what we're proposing. Hire us. Send us off to do this, whatever you want to do. Now, both the technical research report and the proposal, the presentation will be on the website, right? So the website's going to house a lot of stuff. It's going to house your information, look at the problem from a layperson's point of view. It's going to include the technical report, and you're going to have the presentation to show them. Okay, so it looks like, yes, it looks like a lot. And please, there are better ways to do presentations than do reading bullet points off of PowerPoint. I may just come through the computer and throttle people if you do something like that. There are other ways to do it, and we'll look at all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a lot. It seems like a lot of work, and it is. But if you can get your team to working and pulling all together, it'll be very interesting. So in essence, your website is your proposal. So that's sort of the general project overview. The second thing I wanted to show you is the scope of the team tasks, and there's also some individual stuff too. So this is, now I'm getting down to real detailed stuff here. So the first few days, this will be before the 1st of June, introduce yourselves on OpenLab via a post that's set up like an email or memo. And all the details on how to do this stuff is in the weekly coursework tabs on OpenLab site. In other words, they're over here, okay? So this will be week 1 right here. So this is the wrong thing. Go back to this. Okay, there it is. So all that stuff is on the weekly coursework tabs, okay? Create a post saying who you are, put your ideas on Padlet. I want to get the team set up by the end of June 1st. Join Slack, okay, and don't worry about the challenge yet. I'll fix that later. The doodle poll, so we can see what times we can meet as a whole class optionally. All right, so that's sort of the first stuff to do before June the 1st. Now, here are the real initiative collaborative team assignments. This is what you'll be focusing on until the end of the week, more or less. 6-4, 6-5 right in there. 6-4 would be a good benchmark. Now, I've put through here benchmarks, which are not hard and fast deadlines from me, for the most part. But for the team, I'll use them as suggestions for creating your own sets of deadlines, of due dates. Okay, I'll show you more about that in a second. So there's 3 things you have to do the first few days after I get the team set up. There's an individual survey that talks about your own strengths and weaknesses, the issues you're confronting in terms of time, things that you do really well, you think you contribute really well to a team project. Things, like I'm not so techy, but I'm a really good proofreader. Things like that will go on this individual survey. I'll show you where these are in just a second. So after everybody does that, then you find a way to get together somehow. And by the way, the Zoom link that's on our site is available 24/7. You do not need me to get in, excuse me, to get into that Zoom room. So just use it whenever you want to. Okay, so you kind of look at all that stuff and you create a group charter that sets out things like, it's the rules mostly for your team, and roles. Who's the project manager, because you're going to need one, trust me. Who are the tech and presentation managers, your web designer, presentation designer, writing editors, anything that you can come up with. Okay, so set up some roles for yourselves. Figure out and write down, this is important, how the team's going to communicate in general, like Slack, Discord, whatever, WhatsApp, whatever you want to do. How you'll resolve conflicts, like if somebody is late and they're chronically late or you can't get hold of them, what are you going to do about that? Okay, should be rules and maybe, I don't want to say, punitive stuff, but, what's going to happen if somebody kind of drops the ball? Are you going to come to me? You're going to try and work it out yourselves first? Whatever. That's up to this. Give them the best ways to meet. If you're going to set up a collaborative workspace, and I suggest that you do, I've set up some stuff in the class Google Drive, which I'll show you again in just a second, that you can create a Google Doc to sort of start pulling things together. You can put in, every team's going to have a folder, and you can put anything in that folder you want to. That's totally up to you. Not my problem. It's off base to me. It's for your use. Also decide how you're going to share files. Another nice thing about Slack is you can share files on it as well, and you can put the Google links in Slack, and it'll, it's there. It works fine too. And then any other issues that you see in your group, and then you put this group charter up on your folder, and I will look at this to see if I think you've missed something, right? And then the next thing to do is to create a list of tasks that you've sort of identified. Everybody can kind of brainstorm on this one. And then sort of assign tasks to specific people to make sure the workload is equitable. That includes deadlines and benchmarks, and post it on your folder. Now let me show you what I mean by on the folder. So we have a Google Drive, and all of these are for teams, right? So say you're team 1. Right here is all of these documents that you need that I've told you about, okay? This is the individual worksheet that you, as an individual, will fill out. Come on, computer. I'm having computer issues, okay? Individual assessment. You can just add it to here and make just one document for the whole team, whatever you want to, or you can download it and work on it on your own and then upload it into the folder. This is the team charter information. Come on. Okay, so this is just, what to do about this stuff. And you write it down. Honest to goodness, just write it down so nobody will have any issues with it when it comes around to team evaluation time. Right? Strengths and weaknesses, all that stuff you need to go over. Here's the task list and schedule information. Now I got this from a project management book, and I've been using it in my interdisciplinary class on creating video games. And there are teams that create a video game, and this works really, really well because then you kind of ID some of the tasks and tentative deadline and who's assigned to it. Now this contribution value is an interesting thing. Some people may not be able to work for an extended period of time on one section, but they can contribute little stuff all along. So when you break the tasks down, some may be worth 10 points, and you can come up with your own scheme of numbering, right? So 10 out of 10. So that's worth, introduction to the technical report may be worth 8, right? And then there's an ongoing status. So if you create this, so here's one that I just made up, okay? Article summaries, 7, editing the whole thing is like worth a whole lot because they got to pull everything together, right? So this is just sort of how to do it. Here is, here's a blank one that you can manipulate any way you want to. Now you don't have to, it doesn't have to look like this. This is just my suggestion. Okay, so you guys can do this. Leave it on your drive or wherever you're sharing your documents, so you can keep checking in and see who's doing what, right? Particularly for the PM, this will be really important. But everybody, since the groups are not that big, they're only 4 or 5 depending on how many people end up in the class. All right, so here's the blank. It's here. Now, this is this is for later. At the end of the term, I'll talk about this in a minute, but at the end of the term, you're going to write me a final evaluation report about the whole project. And one part of it is this team evaluation document. Right, so you name everybody in it, and then you sort of do on this Likert scale what they did, and then you write up a very short why you gave that number to that person, including yourself. Right, so you will include this to your with your final report to me, which would be probably an email, so that you can attach this as a document. Right, however you want to do it. But that's not until the end. But I want you to know it's there, so you can see that these are the things that make up good teamwork, good collaborative participation. So you can kind of have an idea of what you're kind of looking for as a team as you go into it. So that's all the stuff that's on here. And again, every team is going to have a folder, and you can use it any way you darn well want. Now let me go back to the main site, okay? So scope of task. All right, so that's all of this stuff. And it needs to be done by the end of the first calendar week, like 6/4, 6/5, because then you get into the individual assignments that will also feed into this, mostly to the technical report. This part will, to the technical or scientific report, that big long sucker that you've got to do. Okay, so there's the individual reports are 500-word summary of a scientific or technical article about your team's issues. Now, as I say, the idea here is to get started on the research for your technical manual. Technical report, not manual, technical reports. You can split up areas like, okay, somebody wants to take history, somebody wants to take whatever. So you go out and you find an article. Again, there are more detailed instructions on the weekly overviews. You find an article, you write a summary of it, and then the team uses that information to help build the technical manual, right? So that's the first thing. That's due pretty quick, like, early part of week 2, 6, 9. The second individual thing is what's called an extended definition. And this is a look at the terms that are used in that field for that problem. Now, you may already know, if it's something you know about, you may already have an idea of, key terms that you'd want to look at. So you can split it up earlier. You can split it up after the individual summaries come in. What this thing is all about is just taking a term, looking at where it came from, how it's used in different contexts, and then defining that term in a low-tech way to your potential audience. So you're practicing writing for the low-tech audience as well as learning more for your research, for your technical document. Okay, so these two are due pretty fast, and you can upload them into their individual. There's folders in the Google Drive that say article summary and extended definition. This part, this is going to feel really nebulous and tenuous, but the idea here is that everybody should contribute around, if not more than, 1,000 words to your technical manual. And again, you can use this as sort of a way to split up some of these tasks. Some person may want to take the lead on writing an introduction. Somebody may want to do need to do more research and write up a different section in the research report. Again, you'll start to figure this out as the information starts to come in and see what you're missing and what needs to be punched up a bit. So, how you do it's up to you, but the target words for every person's contribution to the technical manual is about 1,000 words ish, okay, more or less. That's just the research part of it. Now, then there's this little thing, this instruction manual, which I'll talk about. It's an assignment of its own. It's kind of fun. It's a little brain breather. Well, I'll talk about it more, but it doesn't really feed into the technical report or the proposal, although you might be able to do it. I don't know. Up to the team, and see what happens. Another assignment you have to do is to do a weekly log of reflections about what's going on with the team. It's a private post, and I'll show you how to do that. It's just a simple thing you check off when you're getting ready to publish your post on Open Lab. Nobody will see it but you and me. Okay, so it's absolutely private. So just there's only 3 of them. Just keep a log of what's going on, and then the final report on the whole project that comes to me, draws on the logs and that team evaluation tool that I showed you. Right, so that's it. That's a lot, right? Seems like a lot. Take a deep breath. You'll survive. All right, let me keep going on this thing. This is probably more than you need right now, but it's here. I'll be putting elements of it all through the weekly overviews, and probably put this section in each week anyway on its own. But it's really just information about specific parts of the project, like how a technical report might be set up. There are other ways to do it. We'll look at it, but this is one simple template. Again, a little bit about website and a little bit about presentation. I'll show you Canva, which a lot of people use these days, and I use all the time. My students love it. My 1101, 1121 students. You can make infographics, which a lot of people are making infographics. And in fact, instruction manuals are sort of all the rage these days. So I'll show you Canva just as a way to show you how to do some of that stuff. Okay, so that's the scope of tasks. Again, lots of stuff, right? And then finally, the final thing I wanted to show you was this tentative class schedule. It will change depending on the week and depending on what's going on and as we sort of tweak the class a little bit. But this is a general look at what goes on for what I'm calling weeks. This is like the little half week. It's got all the stuff laid out. Then what I call week 2, which is, I'm going Tuesday through Monday. That's how I'm setting the weeks up. I don't know why. I just did it that way. It beats me. That's just me. It just made sense to me when I looked at it, because the real first day of class is a Tuesday, which is June. Hello, which month are we in? June the 1st. So that's how I went. Right, was Tuesday through Monday. So Tuesday through Monday, initial team project activities, talking about the 500-word summary. Expanded definition. I'll run you through the instruction manual assignment, which is due anytime before the end of the term. Then really specifically about technical reports, and you guys are just going to keep working and meeting. There's these things on Perusall all feed into participation. Right, so if you don't do them, you kind of lose a point here and there. So you need to do them. Besides, there is an embedded prompt in each one of the readings. Clever teacher. That you kind of need to look at, because they're asking you to think about things and how to apply what you're reading to the project you're working on. Okay, so it's not just busy work, it's really examples and how to think about stuff, right? And then the last week is only like 3 days, and it's just when the deliverables are due. So you're doing most of this work yourself, right? This class is really all about you and your team and getting this project stuff done. All right, so the next thing is to do now that you've watched this, is to go to the weekly course tab and find, there's also a link down there, week 1. All right, and here's all the instructions, and there's a lot of repetition. I keep saying the same things over and over again. Bear with me, and need to for some people. Sometimes it takes the 4th time for it to kind of sink in, particularly when there's as much information as there is for this course. I am going to hold that informal first meetup on Monday at 1, unless the doodle polls all come in and say, oh, don't do that, we need it to go at night. That's okay, we'll figure that out. But this is what I'm thinking right now. There's a Slack invitation. Join Perusall, you need it immediately. There's the course code. And then here's the schedule itself, okay? And with the due dates, the work done, write the post. Again, here's the video and instructions on how to create a post in Open Lab. Here's the stuff about Perusall again, right? And more stuff about, no, I didn't put the Slack stuff up here, but that's Perusall and Open Lab, right? So write this introduction post. Now, I really need you to do this because I can't set up the grade book without it, just because of the way Open Lab works, right? So I need you to post this, and from that I'll also create a list of members on the site. Okay, so short post introducing yourself. Tell me something I wouldn't know, just by hi, how are you? Like I said, I'm an amateur gardener, but you wouldn't know it unless you look. Well, some days you'd know because my fingers have dirt underneath, but most of the time I try to keep them clean. And then insert an image into your post, something that means something to you, and say why you chose it. It's just kind of a nice way to A, practice Open Lab, and B, kind of get to know each other a little bit more than just, my name's Jackie, I'm from Texas. I used to write for TV. Now I'm an adjunct instructor. I live with my cat in Brooklyn, where my family lives, which is why I moved here. Right, so that's your basic introduction. Do the syllabus assignment on Perusall before we meet on Tuesday. Here's the room link, which again you can use. It's also up. It's also up here. The link is always up there. And this is the paddle you'll love. The nice thing about this paddle is you don't have to join anything. You just go there and go. You use, let's see, I need to move this up. Hit this little button down here and put your name on it, Jackie. I know nothing. Done. You can also edit. You can link to a website. You can Google stuff. This is Googling things. I'm sorry. This is a link. You can upload things on here. You can add images. You can change the background colors too if you want to. These are things that you can put up there. Yeah, close it up. You can change the background color and all kinds of stuff. Right? So that's the Padlet. Padlet's fun. Okay, do the Padlet. Reply to other people's ideas if you like them. So again, that'll help me with set the teams up. And I think that's it. Oh my goodness, I hate videos that go on this long. I hope, again, I'm going to put this on Perusall. You can make comments or questions. Hit the timeline when you do that. And you can also send me a text on Slack. I answer those really fast. And see if there's anything else I forgot. No. All right, so I will see, I hope, everybody, one way or the other, black boxes or real faces, on the 1st, one way or the other. And let me know how things are going. Okay, see you later.